Hi everyone, welcome to researchmd.com. We got a great presentation today. So today our topic is right here, cholinesterase inhibitor toxicity. Welcome to researchmd.com. My name is Pramil. Cheriyath. I'm a program director in internal medicine, transitional residency. I teach medical students and residents on a regular basis, and I'm also director of research, and I hold 2 assistant professorship at 2 large medical schools. So let's get into our topic. When we talk about acetylcholine, let's start with that, okay? So what happened is one of the first neurotransmitter ever discovered, I think it was in the year 1930, when you look at it, 2 people, like 2 German scientists won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of acetylcholine. So we need to know, so we have this, what is the normal mechanism of acetylcholine? That's what we're going to teach you first. Okay, when you look at the acetylcholine, it's actually made from acetyl-CoA and choline combined together. You got acetylcholine, right? And then what happens, it's actually, once acetylcholine is made, it's actually stored in the synaptic vesicle. We got a nice picture of synaptic vesicle up here. You got synaptic cleft and the postsynaptic region. So once you got a nerve stimuli coming in, what happened is calcium gets released, this gets stimulated, acetylcholine is released, and then it's going to work on your muscarinic and nicotinic receptor. Very, very important to know those 2 receptors, okay? You can subclassify muscarinic, I think, into M1 to M5 region, but they're different than, but I'm not going to go into too much in it. Okay, so again, what is the normal mechanism? Acetyl-CoA and choline make acetylcholine, stored in the synaptic vesicle. They come and act on the nicotinic muscarinic receptors, right? That's where the skeletal muscle and all that start working. So what happened when you have this acetylcholine? Can the body leave too much acetylcholine? No. So they have a natural mechanism. Everything need to be balanced, right? So body produce something called a cholinesterase. And what does the cholinesterase do? You break down the acetylcholine to acetate and choline. Okay, and then choline is kind of come back and go the recycle again. So the cycle, it's in a circle. Everything in life is pretty much in a circle. So everybody got that normal mechanism. Okay,
yes.
So again, acetylcholine, acetyl-CoA and choline, and then acetylcholine act on this nicotinic muscarinic receptors, and then body produce cholinesterase. After action is over, acetylcholine is broken down, and the whole cycle goes again. Okay, now we're going to talk about what happens in the toxic side. Okay, you describe the normal mechanism. So in this toxic world, what does the terrorists usually do? They come and attack with something called nerve gas, and then you got organophosphorus poisoning, and let's go into the mechanism what happened. Okay, so if you have, usually remember we talk about this acetylcholine is broken down by cholinesterase, right? So the nerve gas and the organophosphorus compound inhibit the cholinesterase. Okay, that's the bottom line. They inhibit the cholinesterase. So what happens over here? You got large number of acetylcholine, right? So what happens when you have everything in the life is too much is bad, right? So when this large number of acetylcholine, all of this and the receptors start acting crazy. So we got this muscarinic and nicotinic, have this too much actions kind of going on, right? So we put this nice mnemonic over here so people can remember. Okay, so let's see the nicotinic receptor action. Let's look at that first. And somebody kind of read this to me. What is our mnemonic for a nicotinic action?
Yes, nicotinic, there's a weekdays. It's Monday, M for mydriasis,
okay.
Tuesday, T for tachycardia, W for Wednesday is weakness, Thursday for hypertension, and Friday F for fasciculations.
Okay, so remember the weekdays. Monday, mydriasis. Tuesday, tachycardia. Wednesday, weakness. Thursday, hypertension. Friday, fasciculations. Okay, remember that mnemonic. Now look at the muscarinic receptors overactivation because of the too much acetylcholine. Somebody tell me, what is the mnemonic we use?
We use dumbbells with 3 B's.
Okay.
Defecation, diaphoresis, U for urination, M for meiosis, bronchospasm, bronchoria, and bradycardia for the 3 B's, and MS is lacrimation, salivation, and seizures.
Okay, so everybody got that. I mean, for nicotinic activation or over stimulation by acetylcholine, we use the Monday through Friday mnemonic. And then for muscarinic action, we just kind of dumbbell mnemonic, okay? Remember that. The one thing you just have to, the most important is this bronchoria, bradycardia, and the respiratory center inhibition. That's usually kind of kill the patient. Remember that. So now we know what is the toxic effects, right? Now, how do we fix it? Okay, now we know this muscarinic and nicotinic. Muscarinic is the one like causing like a lot of problems. Let's start with the muscarinics. How do you fix it? Give atropine. Okay, when you look at atropine, so what happens is like you got to think this is as a receptor. Usually acetylcholine come and join this receptor and start acting up. So what happened is like atropine is gonna come and fix with this receptor, right? So the acetylcholine cannot act on the receptor. Everybody got that? And so the action is kind of blocked, right? So remember, so this is a muscarinic receptor blocker, okay? So atropine. So you give that, and then the next thing is you need to do something about nicotinic receptor, right? What is the drug of choice? We have pralidoxime. What does that do? It reactivates acetylcholinesterase. Okay, remember that. So what happened? Acetylcholine breakdown. Now, the things to remember over here is like, always treat the muscarinic first, okay? And then you give the pralidoxime. So give atropine first. You don't want to give pralidoxime. What happened when you give pralidoxime? I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody with the cocaine-induced like hypertension, right? What is how do you treat it? You have to be very careful, right? If you give beta blocker, that's kind of like contraindicated. What happened when you give beta blocker? You got like unopposed alpha action, right? So you have to combine, you have to stop alpha and beta block together. Same thing over here. Before you use the pralidoxime, muscarinic, you need to make sure it's taken care of. So always start with the atropine and then muscarinic receptor, okay? Start with the muscarinic and then fix the nicotinic receptor. Now, the other thing I also wanted to mention, the role of succinylcholine, okay? When you give it's a paralytic agent, when you give somebody succinylcholine, what happens is like acetylcholinesterase kind of broke them down, right? So if you don't have acetylcholinesterase, so what happened? Too much succinylcholine in the system. So that can give like paralysis throughout, the patient will die. So don't give. That's a contraindication, succinylcholine. Okay, everybody got that? So summarize. Think how acetylcholine is made from acetyl-CoA and choline, and then come up here, acetylcholine act on the receptor, and all the muscarinic and nicotinic action taken over. Once the action is over, cholinesterase breaking down this acetylcholine to acetylcholine, choline come back and recycle it. Okay, that's a normal mechanism. Abnormal mechanism, nerve gas, organophosphorus poisoning. What happened is like they inhibit cholinesterase. When you have inhibit cholinesterase, you got a large number of acetylcholine that go crazy on two of the receptors. You got muscarinic receptors, and then you got nicotinic receptors. Overactivation going on. Body will not be able to control. Remember the mnemonic. When you look about the nicotinic, the Monday through Friday mnemonic is, we can remember things. And muscarinic, you got the dumbbells mnemonic. So remember all those mnemonic right here. And when you come to treatment, remember, always treat the muscarinic receptor blocker. First, the role of atropine you give, and then followed by you give pralidoxime. And in this patient, succinylcholine is contraindicated when you have cholinesterase inhibitor, okay? Those are the main 3 points we need to remember about the treatment. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put it under comments. If you could subscribe to our channel, that would be great. Thank you again.